All right, here we are with a new HBH podcast, joined with Horrorman93 once again. If you guys don't remember him, we did episode 5 together where we talked about End of Days. And that episode actually did really good, so I thought I would bring him back on the podcast again. And we got a pretty good topic today. We're going to talk about horror movies that really aren't good at all. I thought this would be a fun one. I thought talking about pure garbage would be a lot of fun. But before we get into this, I do want to say that this is our opinions. Not everyone's going to agree. Some of you might like these movies. We don't. So, maybe we do like some in some weird way. But either way, these are our opinions, so don't get mad at us. This is just, again, our opinions. Everyone has their own opinion. And so let's get right into this. The first one I want to talk about is House of the Dead. I actually pulled out the DVD for this. I don't know why. Because I've seen this movie one time, and I know it's based off of a game. I know it has a sequel, which I haven't seen the sequel, and I haven't played the game. But I've seen House of the Dead one time, and it's a bad movie. It's really bad, but I had fun with it, believe it or not. And I feel like I'm the only one on the internet who's ever said that. Now, who directed this movie again? I can't remember. It's got like an old
ball.
Yeah, that dude. My DVD has like an old Hollywood video sticker on it, so it's covering up the director's name. So yeah, thank you for that, because I forgot his name. But yeah, the movie's garbage. But I have fun with it, as strange as that sounds. What do you think of House of the Dead?
I think it's one of the worst movies of that year.
I think a lot of people
remember
would
when
agree.
it came out. I remember when it came out, I was like, I think 10 years old. And I was excited to see it because I was looking forward to every horror movie that I could see. And back then, I could have had fun with it. Now, back then, when I watched it when it first came out, yeah, it was fun. But watching it now, no, I just can't watch that movie now. I just think it's awful. Like, there's really nothing about it that I like. The only thing I might like about it is Ellie Cornell is in the movie that played Rachel in Halloween 4. But other than that,
she's a great actress.
It's supposed to be based on the video game from Sega. It was the arcade game, House of the Dead. And they pretty much went with that because that's pretty much the whole movie, shooting and no plot, really no story that much. And on some kind of island with all these zombies. And it's supposed to be like a fun style of the game, but as a movie, I think it's horrible.
Like, I think a lot of people would agree with you. I mean,
yeah, it's not directed great because the director, he's known for not having great movies. He's like considered one of the worst directors ever.
What other movie has he directed? Because I really don't know.
He directed another video game movie called Blood Rain, which I think he did a little better with that one because
I've never seen it.
I think Blood Rain might be the better game because I played the first one for Xbox. Yeah, but it's not great. Just like House of the Dead, it's not great, but I think it would be better. It's better to me.
It's strange because,
but surprisingly, I like House of the Dead 2. I think was better written movie.
I think most people would agree that House of the Dead is bad, but for some weird reason, I had fun with it. But I only watched it one time. I didn't revisit it. I think it's a bad movie, but I think it's one of those bads to where you could still have some sort of fun with it.
I've probably seen it at least 3 or 4 times, and
I've seen it.
The only time I really enjoyed it when I was 11 or 10 years old when it came out. But now I can't watch it. I don't have no enjoyment really.
Yeah, House of the Dead is pretty bad. I think most people would agree. So what's another bad horror movie that's on your list, Horror Man?
Jaws the Revenge.
Jaws the Revenge. I had a feeling that was going to get mentioned for some reason.
Not only is it one of the worst horror movies ever, it's one of the worst movies ever made. How can you go from a masterpiece to a pile of garbage like Jaws the Revenge? It makes no sense. How could a human have any psychic connection with a shark? Who thought that was a good idea?
Dude, I don't know.
When they was producing this movie, that's no way that could be a good movie, and it has one of the best actors ever in it, Michael Caine.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I've seen something where Michael Caine just was in the movie for a paycheck, and he made $1 million, and he bought his mom a house.
That's incredible.
But other than that movie, the ending to that movie as well is probably one of the worst endings ever for a Jaws movie. Probably the worst ending.
Yeah, but here's the question I got for you. Jaws the Revenge is awful, right? But my question is, have you seen Cruel Jaws?
No, but they say that they're supposed to be like Jaws 5. but they take like
Yeah,
I
basically.
haven't seen it, but I know something about it. It's like they take some of the footage from Jaws. I haven't seen. I think it's Italian or something like that.
Is it Italian? I
I
didn't know
probably
that. I
never
haven't
would
seen
watch
it
that.
either, and that's why I
I
asked you
think
because I
so.
don't know. I haven't heard great things about it, but I haven't seen it for myself, so I can't really judge the film. But is it Italian?
I think so. I'm like
Oh,
90% sure it's an Italian one.
wow,
But yeah, I had no
interesting.
interest in watching that one either, though, because
Yeah,
I
I
know
don't
it would
either,
be awful as well.
for
Yeah,
sure.
it's not no official Jaws movie.
Didn't was Cruel Jaws in the
Yeah,
90s?
I think it was the mid 90s, 95.
Yeah,
I think
yeah, that's
somewhere
right.
around there.
Yeah, pretty bad movie.
Yeah,
Jaws
but
of
Jaws
Revenge is
Revenge,
awful.
I've seen that a few times, and I probably won't ever watch it again because I watched it, I think, once, like this past year or maybe in the past 2 years, and I was like,
Yeah.
this is awful. I don't see
You know
how
what's kind
anybody
of
could like
funny?
it, but if they like it, they like it.
Yeah, exactly.
What's
Jaws the
that?
Revenge is like really bad. But you know what's kind of funny is I watched Jaws 2 recently, and Jaws 2 is still the best sequel. But like as a kid, I loved Jaws 2, but Jaws 2 has like kind of like not been as good to me
Yeah,
recently.
it
Like
kind
I
of like
watched it,
fall off a little
it
bit.
kind of like
I
dragged. I
watched
was like,
it.
I'm just not into this anymore.
I watched it this year too, and I felt the same way about it. It ain't as great as it was way back when we used to watch it back then. It's
Yeah,
still a good sequel, but yeah, it lost something. Like it's not something I
exactly.
want to watch a lot anymore. Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's still like a fun movie you could pop in every now and then.
oh yeah, it's still the best Jaws sequel hands down, but something it's just lost like its charm over the years. To me personally, I know a lot of people still love Jaws too, and I still like it, but yeah, it's lost something. I don't know what it is.
It's still got one of the coolest scenes when the shark brings down the helicopter in the water.
Oh yeah.
I think that's my favorite scene in the movie. And then, him chasing after that girl doing the
Mhm.
motorboat, the ski.
Yeah. All right, so another movie I wanted to talk about is definitely a bad movie, but I kind of want to defend the movie somewhat, which is a lot of people's going to disagree with me on this, but I wanted to mention Exorcist II: The Heretic. Now, the movie is bad. It's not a good sequel, but I want to say this right now. I don't know if anyone else feels this way or not, but I feel like Exorcist 2 had potential. We have Linda Blair back as Reagan, and there's things in the movie that I think is okay, honestly. I feel like that at times in certain scenes, it feels like they kind of had an idea for a story, but at the same time, they didn't. Like, it's kind of a sloppy movie, but I felt like they could have done something really incredible with this movie, and they just didn't quite get there, which is what makes the movie not good. But at times, I really did feel like this movie had potential.
I haven't seen The Exorcist 2 in like over 10 years. I cannot really remember nothing from that movie, but I do know that it's considered one of the worst horror sequels ever made.
Oh yeah,
And
oh
when
yeah,
I
it
did
is.
watch, I don't remember if I liked it or not. I probably didn't. The Exorcist and The Exorcist 3 is the only one that I like. Well, I love the
Oh
first one
yeah,
and love the third one. The
yeah. The
second one is just
original and the third's
forgettable because if it
iconic.
was anything good, I would remember it. I haven't watched it in
Yeah,
like 12 or 13 years probably. When I was like
yeah.
17 or
Exorcist 2
18
is not
probably.
good. So you're not missing anything. The first one and the third one's definitely classic. Those are the two Exorcist movies you should watch if you're going to watch that series. Two, to me, I just feel like had somewhat of a potential, but it just kind of falls flat on its face, which is unfortunate because I think it's cool that Linda Blair came back to play Reagan, and there's things about it that I think they were on the right track, but something happened. I mean, I don't know if it was the writing or the whole, I don't know what it was, but the movie just fell flat on its face, and it's unfortunate.
I think the director of the original Exorcist called it like the worst thing he ever saw or something. I read one time, which I can't remember that much about the movie, but I'll take his word for it that it was one of the worst things ever.
Yeah, it's not good. All right, so what's another one on your list?
Jason X.
Oh yeah,
I
Jason
think
X is
Jason X
awful.
is probably the worst one in the Friday the 13th franchise. Like
Yeah.
hands down. I even like Jason Goes to Hell over Jason X. I watched Jason X 2, 3 nights ago for like the
Mhm.
first time in a long while, and I can see why I still don't watch that movie. I think it's just how can anybody think like sending an iconic horror character like Jason Voorhees to space was a good idea? Like
I
I
don't
can't
know.
I can't see how people like it. I can see how some people like might have fun with some of the kills and stuff, but as an overall story and plot, I think it is
Hmm.
ridiculous. Like, why in space? Why did they take horror icons to space? Like, they took like Hellraiser, Pinhead to space, and Leprechaun to space, and then Jason. And I
Well,
never can get behind the idea because Jason works best when he's at Camp Crystal Lake.
oh yeah, for sure. I mean, here's the thing, honestly. I think anytime you're taking a horror icon to space, it's a bad idea, but I think sometimes it works. Like for Pinhead, Hellraiser Bloodline, I feel like that movie worked. I like Bloodline.
Yeah,
Leprechaun, I mean, think of it this way. Leprechaun as a character, like right out of the gate was a joke. You know, that's a horror comedy film. So taking him to space is kind of like, okay, yeah, whatever. You know, it's Leprechaun, ain't no big deal. So sometimes I feel like it's okay, but when you take a character like Jason, like someone who's as iconic as Jason, because let's be honest here, Jason's more iconic than Leprechaun, obviously. He's more iconic than Pinhead. So when
yeah,
you take someone
yeah.
that iconic to space, it's not a good idea. It's almost like taking Michael Myers to space. That would be an awful idea. Same with like Freddy Krueger. But when it comes to like Pinhead, I feel like it works. I actually like Bloodline. So sometimes it works, but I would say like 90% of the time, it fails. And Jason X is definitely a fail.
Yeah, I wish it was never made, but they had to make something in like between time of Freddy versus Jason. So New Line
Yeah.
started filming that in 2000 and it didn't get out until 2002.
Mhm.
And it was already out in 2001, oh, I think in the United Kingdom. And somebody had leaked the movie, so they kind
Oh
of rushed
man.
it to put in the theater for 2002.
Yeah.
But speaking of 2002, there's another movie that I think is one of the worst. It's Halloween
What?
Resurrection. Halloween Resurrection from the
Obviously.
same year. So in
Yeah.
the same year, we got both of the worst movies in both of those franchises. I
Yeah, for
remember when
sure.
Halloween Resurrection came out, and I wanted to see it because it was another Michael Myers movie, and I was only
Mhm.
like 9 when it came out.
Yeah.
So I eventually did see it, and I can't really remember what I thought of it when I first watched it. I just wanted to see Michael Myers on the movie.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I didn't really think about the plot of the movie back then. I just wanted to see Michael kill people. But watching it now, it's not an easy watch. I don't like Resurrection at all.
I
Like
think
there's nothing about Resurrection. I think it's a boring movie. I think it's
oh
boring them
yeah.
just going through Michael Myers' house. There's nothing to it. And
Yeah,
the only thing
exactly.
entertaining is Buster Rhymes as Freddie Harris. Like he's fun to watch. But
Oh
other than
yeah.
that, the other characters are just like bland. Like I don't like none of
I
those
agree.
characters.
I
And
think
plus,
most people I think most people on my channel know how I feel about Halloween Resurrection, so I'm not going to talk about it too much, but yeah, it's a bad movie. Um especially for the
okay,
Halloween franchise, like especially after, being a sequel to H2O, which honestly the story should have ended with H2O. They didn't need to keep going, but you know how
I
that is.
agree.
Money talks. So we got Resurrection and the whole thing with the paramedic, him
Yeah,
switching out the clothes with the paramedic is stupid. But yeah, Resurrection is just it's crap. I mean, Buster Rhymes is funny in it, but like that's not going to save the movie. The movie's just awful. Like when you sit here and say literally Busta Rhymes is the best part of that movie, that's pretty sad.
and Buster Rhymes isn't no actor either.
No.
So when he's in the movie, you could tell he was no actor, and he had a lot of authority of what he can use in the lines in that movie as well. He had a lot of he wrote his own stuff pretty much, and they
Yeah.
allowed him to do that. So he was playing himself.
Awful.
He's not no actor.
He kind of reminds me of Nick Cannon. Like when Nick Cannon's in movies, he's literally just playing himself. So yeah, it's basically
Yeah,
Busta Rhymes playing himself. It's hilarious.
yeah. And Nick Cannon was in that horrible
That
Day of
Day
the
of the
Dead
Dead, yeah.
remake. I don't like that one either.
No, it's awful. Okay, I want to mention one more. I got another one here I want to talk about, which I have a love hate with this movie. Well, not even really hate. I actually pretty like. What does that mean? Pretty much like this movie. I know a lot of people don't, and I do think this is a bad movie, and that is Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. I know that this movie is hated, and it's not good. I agree, but like, it's one of those movies to where it's so chaotic and crazy that like I have so much fun with it. Like Matthew McConaughey in this movie is like over the top and just hilarious. Now Leatherface in the movie is awful, the worst Leatherface in the franchise, hands down. But it's
Yeah,
such a fun movie because it's so crazy. Like this chainsaw movie is in your face, and I kind of like that.
yeah, I agree. And that was one of Matthew McConaughey's early
Wasn't
acting
it his
roles.
first movie?
It could have been.
I'm pretty sure it was.
No, it wasn't. He did a movie called Dazed and Confused in 1993.
Oh, that's right. That's
So
right.
it might have been like his first
Second or third, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. But I do know Renee Zellweger was, I think, was
Yeah.
her first movie. But
Yeah.
yeah, that movie, it's definitely not a good movie. But
No.
when I first seen it, I thought it wasn't good. But I watched it maybe 2 or 3 times, and I just had fun with it. Like the second or third time I watched it, because
Exactly.
I know you can't take it serious when Matthew
No.
McConaughey's like beating his forehead and he jumps off a window or something onto a truck.
Yeah.
And Leatherface in the movie,
Awful.
Renee Zellweger pretty much told him to sit down, and he did it.
You sit the fuck down and shut up.
Like,
yeah, it's terrible.
You can't do that to that character, because Leatherface is a serious character. Like, you talking like that to him just ruins him for the movie.
Oh yeah.
And the portrayal, that's by far probably the worst portrayal of Leatherface.
Mm-hmm.
Out of all the guys that played him, Robert Jackson's definitely the worst one to me.
Yeah, I agree. It's just a fun movie, though. I mean, it's one of those movies where it's like so bad that it's good. Like, I love how chaotic it is, honestly. It's not one that I go to a lot because I realize it's a bad movie. But like, if I ever want to just like watch a movie and just like kind of have fun, basically, I'll throw in The Next Generation. It's like a good popcorn flick. But yeah, it's probably, it's really bad. But I don't know. I defend it somewhat.
I think it had a different title when it first came out, and they changed it to The Next Generation. Yeah,
I can't remember what it was though.
I can't remember either, but yeah, it's fun to watch sometimes. It ain't something I watch a lot though. I like my horror movies more serious than Leatherface being told to sit down. Like, come on, what is that? And then they put the Illuminati into the movie. Like,
oh yeah, that's right.
And then at the end, the guy got hit with the airplane propeller.
Oh yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah, that was funny. But yeah, it's something I wouldn't watch a lot, but I would watch it again.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not a good horror movie.
No, not at all. It's definitely not good.
And I'm pretty sure the guy that wrote the original with Toby Hooper wrote the fourth movie.
Yeah,
I think his name's Kim.
Yeah, Kim.
Hinkle.
Yeah. Yes, Kim Hinkle. Yeah, it's on the back of the DVD here. He also produced it.
Yep.
So yeah, I think I'm gonna end it here. I'm kind of done talking about bad horror movies, but believe it or not, people, there are bad horror movies. In case you didn't know, But these ones that we talked about are definitely not good. I know I defended a couple of them, kind of. Like House of the Dead, I can't defend really. I just have fun with it. Chainsaw, I defend a little bit, but overall, these are not bad movies. If you guys did enjoy this podcast, please leave a like and wait, whoa. I almost said please leave a like and a subscribe. What? Please like and subscribe. We're almost at 1,000 subs. Very exciting. Go check out Horrorman93 on Instagram and Threads. I'll have his link in the description down below. And with that being said, I hope to hear from you guys very soon.